is good, work is moral, and it helps us to be stronger in the mind and the body, and we need more of that right here in West Virginia. Outside of limited exceptions, if you have the ability to work, you should. Pillar 3, move your body, change your life. I think all of us know the benefits of exercise, not only for our physical health, but for our mental and spiritual well-being as well. Now look, I stand before you today. I'm not pretending to be a fitness guru, certainly not the way it may have been 30, 40 years ago. But I have asked Secretary Kennedy to be my personal trainer. And he hasn't said yes yet, but I think he's sizing me up as a major renovation project. You know, unfortunately, most of us don't get the exercise we need, myself included. But in order for us to get healthy and start to move the needle in terms of where we rank in many of the public health metrics, we all, as a state, must start exercising more now. That's why today, part of our third pillar, I'm announcing a statewide exercise movement. We're going to call it the Mountaineer Mile. I'm challenging every West Virginian to get out and walk at least 1 mile per day. As governor, I understand that I need to do this as well and start shedding the pounds. So in the future, you might start seeing me walking around the Capitol complex a little bit longer. You might see me in many of our amazing state parks. Plug for our state parks, best in the country, right? And you also might see me doing more walking closer to home in the Eastern Panhandle. Our fourth pillar, we want to reward healthy food choices. We need to change the SNAP system so that West Virginians are incentivized to make healthy choices, like choosing fresh produce, lean meats, and natural foods over a lot of the ultra-processed crap that barely qualifies as food, right? So, beginning today, we're asking for help to realign SNAP so that good food choices are easier to make. If taxpayers are paying for it, let's make sure it fuels health, not disease. But, and I'm being serious about this is not about judging someone's grocery cart. It really isn't. I don't want to do that. I don't think anyone here does. But it is about asking a fair question. Is the SNAP program doing what it was supposed to do? You see, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That N is for nutrition. It's not for nonsense. If the law says the program is meant to help people get a more nutritious diet, then that should be the standard. Why should hard-earned federal and state tax dollars be allowed to ignore nutrition? Taxpayer dollars should be targeted toward nutritious foods. That is why today I'm also intending to request a SNAP waiver from the federal government to no longer have taxpayer-subsidized soda as an entitlement under SNAP. We're also going to be incentivizing healthy bundles and other food choices that can help people access and eat better foods, healthier foods. That healthy bundle and other programs, that's going to expand access to healthy food choices in this area and all 55 counties in the state. Quite frankly, I think we can do it, and we can also even save money, federal money at the same time. I'm eager to work with you and the entire Trump administration on that. Making America healthy again, and West Virginia healthy again, that's not just a slogan. That's going to be our mission. And here in the Mountain State, we are leading the charge. And that's because in West Virginia, we're not just climbing the mountains, we're moving them. Let the rest of the country take note. We're cleaning up our food. We're lifting up our families. Where tax dollars are involved, we're incentivizing consumption of healthier foods. We're respecting the dignity of work, and we're living up to our name. Wild and wonderful, and now, a healthier West Virginia. So, it's my honor to be here today. I thank you all for coming. God bless you. Now, I'm going to take a moment and get ready to turn this over to this fine gentleman next to me. And I want to recognize someone who, quite frankly, has become one of the most talked about, most vilified men in America. You should be proud, Mr. Secretary, because I am of you. Because when the bureaucracy gets nervous, it sees real change coming. Secretary Kennedy has been willing to speak hard truths, take on powerful interests, and stand up for everyday Americans, even when it wasn't popular, even when it wasn't easy. He's not afraid of a fight, and that's exactly the kind of leadership we need in Washington. So today, on the heels of a major public health win in West Virginia, we are proud to stand with them. Please join me in welcoming a warrior for children, a man who refuses to back down, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Governor Morrissey. I'm very, very happy to be here at St. Joseph's, and I'm really happy to be here in West Virginia. I just want to say a few words about West Virginia, because West Virginia is a state that holds a special place in the hearts of every Kennedy. In the 1960 campaign, I was living in McLean, Virginia. But my parents disappeared into West Virginia for about 6 weeks. And we didn't see them, as well as all of my aunts. My uncle, President Kennedy, who was then in the Senate, was running for president. And the consensus wisdom around the country was that a Roman Catholic, could not be elected president of the United States. Al Smith had run against President Roosevelt. He was a Catholic from New York, Catholic governor, very, very popular. And when people found out that he was Catholic, there was a resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. There were crosses burned all across the country. And he lost the election catastrophically. And people just felt, Americans felt, and the pundits all felt, that America would never elect a Catholic president. When my uncle decided to run for president, he knew that he had to win West Virginia. West Virginia had the lowest number of Catholics, less than 2% of the population was Catholic. And it was thought to be a place where there was a lot of anti-Catholic prejudice. It had voted overwhelmingly against Al Smith. It was critical to my uncle's campaign that he win this state and show the country that a Catholic could win presidency. Well, he came down to West Virginia, and his objective was to shake the hands of every person in West Virginia. And I think he came very close. And my parents came down, my uncles, my aunts, luckily we had a lot of Kennedys, and they all came down and they spent time really getting to know the people in West Virginia and understanding the issues in the state, the problems, and those things stayed with him throughout his presidency. And on Election Day, he won the state of West Virginia overwhelmingly. And during his presidency, he always believed that he would not be president if he had not won this state. And he never forgot that relationship and that bond that he had formed and that so many members of my family had formed with the people in the state, the affection and the warmth with which they were greeted and embraced. And it's something that now, 70 years later, everybody in our family has this very, very strong affection and bond to this state. And I've been lucky enough that I've been able to spend a lot of my career doing work in this state, in the mining country, and trying to end pollution and give people a chance to live healthier lives. I want to thank Governor Morrissey for his visionary leadership. I got to know Governor Morrissey early in the transition. We were both down in Palm Beach working on the transition in Mar-a-Lago. And we were both invited to stay during that time at Dr. Oz's house. And I said to Dr. Morrissey, or Governor Morrissey, the first time I saw him, I said, "You look like you ate Governor Morrissey." And there was a lot of talk about getting healthy again. And I'm very happy that he's invited me to be his personal trainer. And I am going to put him on a really rigorous regimen. And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet. We're going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrissey to do a public weigh-in once a month. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him. You're welcome, Denise.
We a little more than I bargained for.
You left me an open door, so. Anyway, we have a public health crisis in this country, and unfortunately, West Virginia is leading the way. It's the highest obesity rate of any state in our country. This year, you pulled ahead of Mississippi. It has the highest rate of chronic disease in the country. And so I'm very, very grateful to Governor Morrissey for his visionary leadership in getting West Virginia to lead the way in transitioning off of processed foods. When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans had chronic disease. We spent zero on chronic disease in this country, zero. There was no medications for it. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion on chronic disease every year. It's about 90% of our healthcare budget. And for most of my life, the Republicans and Democrats have been fighting about a healthcare plan, about treatment, really a sick care plan, about how to treat all this illness. Should it be Obamacare, the affordable health plan? Should it be public-private partnership? Should it be a single payer? These are what the big battles that you read about on Capitol Hill. The real battle is that we're getting sicker and sicker every year. And it's really just a debate about who's going to pay the treatment. Nobody has been focused on how do we get ourselves less sick. And it's like moving deck chairs around on the Titanic. No matter what you do, our country is going to go bankrupt. It's now, when I was a kid, diabetes rates in children were almost zero. Juvenile diabetes, a typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes in his lifetime, over a 40 or 50-year career. Today, 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door is pre-diabetic or diabetic. 38% of teens are now diabetic, 50% of adults. A few years ago, it's not a mystery about where this is coming from. 20 years ago, there was no diabetes in China. Today, 50% of the population is diabetic. Why is that? They built 20,000 fast food joints in China and started selling American processed food. And it is costing us, we are now paying more just for diabetes, mitochondrial dysfunction, than we are for our military. And, financially, it is bankrupting our country. We're now spending more to service our debt, and the biggest piece of that debt is coming from health care. We're now paying more to service it than we are for our military budget. Within about 10 years, if we continue on this trajectory, 50 cents out of every tax dollar that you pay to the federal government is going to go to servicing the debt. Within 15 years, 100%. It's not sustainable. It's existential. If you love our country, you got to take care of yourselves. President Trump said that he wants to make America healthy again, but he wants to make it strong again. We cannot have a strong country if we have sick citizens. President Trump says that he wants to restore the American dream. But a person who is healthy has 1,000 dreams. A person who is sick has only one. And there is 60% of our country now that has only one dream, which is to get better. And we need to give them a pathway to doing that. And the pathway is through food. Food is medicine. It treats us in different ways, and it treats our health. It treats our mental health. There was a recent study that showed that when they switched the diet in prisons, that violence went down to a whole food diet. That violence went down by about 70%. When they switched the diet in juvenile detention centers, the whole food diet, violence went down 100%. There's a scientist at Harvard now who is curing schizophrenia with a carnivore diet. So the loneliness, the dispossession, the crisis that we have in mental health, in suicide, in ADD, ADHD, all of these are linked, and particularly to the dyes. It's very clear the dyes that Governor Morrissey is banning, all of them are linked in very, very strong studies to ADHD and to cancers. So we're seeing an explosion in cancers in this country. We're seeing an explosion in infertility. Teenagers today have 50% of the sperm count and 50% of the testosterone of 68-year-old men. Girls are now reaching puberty 6 years earlier than they're supposed to, between 10 and 13 years old. Other countries are not experiencing this. We've seen autism rates go from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid, 1 in 10,000, 1 in every 36 kids today, 1 in 22 boys in California. And the obesity rates have gone up to, as I said, 50% in adults, or 70% overall obesity or overweight, from 3%. In Japan, it's still 3%, because they're not eating these foods. They have nutrition programs in the foods where they have a nutritionist in every school who's in charge of the menu, and they eat healthy foods, so they don't have these illnesses. And we, when I was a kid, we were the healthiest, most robust people in the world. And today we're the sickest. 60% of Americans, from 3% when my uncle was president, 60% today have chronic disease. And it's not happening in other countries. During COVID, we had 16% of the COVID deaths in this country We only have 4.2% of the world's population. So we literally did worse than any country in the world. And when you ask CDC why are Americans dying from COVID at higher rates than any place on earth when we have all the money, they said, well, it's not our fault. It's because Americans are so sick. That is their fault. And we're going to change that. But they said that according to CDC, the average American who died from COVID had 3.8 chronic diseases. So they had diabetes, they had obesity, and maybe asthma and one other thing. And it was the chronic disease really that was killing them. Healthy kids were not dying. Healthy Americans were not dying of COVID. It was a disease that attacked the sick. And that's true with all infectious diseases. If we can make ourselves, the biggest thing that we can do for pandemic preparedness is to make ourselves healthy again. We're now 74% of American kids cannot qualify for military service because of chronic disease. So this is affecting our national security. It's destroying our economy. It is existential for this country. And we need to change it. And I am so happy that you have a visionary governor in this state and that West Virginia is now leading the way. And I want to commend Governor Morrissey not only for his vision, but for his courage, because it's very, very hard. And for these legislatures who are pushing this bill, all of them are getting calls every day from the big soda companies, the sugar soda and the fake food companies. We're not eating food, we're eating food-like substances. And I'll tell you what happened. I was involved in the tobacco litigation back in the late 1980s. And the tobacco companies were, at that time, the cash-richest companies in the world. But they saw the writing on the wall. They saw that the consumer base was turning against them. People were stopping smoking, and that they were being prosecuted and sued successfully. So they settled those lawsuits, but they also started shifting their resources to diversify their companies. And they went out and they bought the food companies. So by 1994, the two biggest food companies in the world were R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris, tobacco companies. They took about 10,000 scientists who were all engaged in nefarious ways to make tobacco more addictive, and they put them to work making food addictive, inventing ingredients in the laboratory that would make it do things to food. For example, they found out that food that you fill up, your brain tells you your stomach is filled, in part by counting the number of times you chew. So they started adding softeners to our food so that you wouldn't chew so much. So you'd have a sense that you're unsatisfied, you're insatiable, you're never full, so that you keep pouring it down your mouth. And that's just one of the many things they did. They added sodium and sugar. Sugar is as addictive as crack, and it's almost as bad for you. It kills you just as surely, it just kills you a little slower. It feeds tumors, it destroys your body, it destroys your brain. And they added more and more sugar to make us addicted to their products. And these companies are now, just like the tobacco companies were, are flooding into the offices of your state leaders and legislatures of the governor, and they're telling him he's making a big mistake. They're telling him that they're going to stop writing checks, that they're going to run people against them, that they're going to destroy their political careers. And Governor Morrissey was telling me that he met with the soda companies this week, and they said to him, you need to be educated about this. And they said, food stamps is not a nutrition program. He came in with his Diet Coke, and he said, is there anything nutritious in here? And they were like, no, of course not. but food stamps is not a nutrition program. And he said it's called SNAP, Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program. It's supposed to be nutrition. It's not supposed to be food-like substances that are actually poisoning us. And so, but it takes a lot of courage to stand up to these companies the same way that it did to stand up to big tobacco. But these men and women, your leaders, Governor Morrissey, is standing up for you. And we all need to stand up for ourselves and take care of ourselves. It's an act of patriotism. If you love this country, you need to start taking care of yourselves. And I want to also say this, that food companies all came and met with me 2 weeks ago. And they're scared of me, but they're more scared of Governor Morrissey. Because what they said, and the reason they said, well, tell us what you want, and we're going to do it. And they said, but stop these governors from passing these laws. Because we don't want a patchwork where West Virginia and California are banning food dyes. And we have to make special products for those states. So they're terrified of this, of what you're doing. And the message that I want to give to the country today and to all the other governors is get in line behind Governor Morrissey and apply for a waiver to my agency, and we're going to give it to you. But that's the way we're going to win this. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank the Maha moms who got me into this office, and President Trump, who has given me free rein to do anything I need to do to make America healthy again. And then I particularly want to thank Governor Morrissey and these legislators for their courage, for their vision, for their willingness to stand up to the most powerful industries in the world, to stand up for the people of West Virginia and set an example, a shining example of the rest of the country. Thank you all very much.
You know, I thought that was a wonderful speech, except for the darn weigh-in part. What is that all about? You know, I want to thank Secretary Kennedy for coming in. We're going to, just in a moment, I'm going to sign the letter of intent to ask for multiple SNAP waivers. But before I do, I want to give 30 seconds to just a minute to these amazing legislators who really have been dedicated to the cause. And so I want to start by recognizing Chairman Jason Barrett to come up, and also his beautiful wife, Summer. Why don't you come right up?
Well, Governor, thank you so much. Appreciate your leadership. And I want everyone in this auditorium here today to understand the job that Governor Morrissey is doing. He is incredibly hands-on. He is in the Capitol working hard every day for the people of West Virginia, and he deserves recognition for that. Secretary Kennedy. Secretary Kennedy, thank you so much for your leadership in inspiring a movement across this country. Our country is in debt for you for doing that. Thank you so much for doing that. When Delegate Worrell and I had our initial conversation about a food dyes bill and what we could get done, I started to talk to some folks about that and getting some feedback. And the thing that I heard the most was, Jason, you're going to have to deal with big food and big drink coming after you. And my response to big food and big drink is big deal. And my colleagues and I, we took on this fight for one very simple reason. The people of West Virginia are worth it. And we're going to continue to do things in West Virginia to make West Virginians healthy again. I want to give a huge shout out to my wife, who has educated me more on this issue than I can ever imagine. My favorite Maha Mom, Summer. Thank you all so very much, and I can promise you more great things are coming for West Virginia. Thank you.
All right. I'd now like to recognize the individual on the Senate who helped shepherd this through, Chairwoman Chapman. Why don't you come on up? Good friend of mine. She's done a great job. Nice to see you, Laura.
Thank you very much. I want to give my sincere appreciation and thanks to Governor Morrissey, who is doing an amazing job and really has put us in the forefront on this issue. And I just want to thank you for your leadership. And also for Secretary Kennedy, who has put these issues into the mainstream media and into our lives. Without his leadership, most of us wouldn't even be able to know half of these issues. We do have the worst health outcomes in America, and Delegate Worrell and I are working hard in our health committees to try to make our lives better. 27% of our citizens live in a food desert, and I just want everybody to realize we're here for the children. You all are our future leaders. You're our future, and we need to make sure that we do a great job for you. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the invite.
Nice to see you. Thank you. The individual who really was one of the key folks in the House driving this through, the chairman of our health committee, Evan Worrell.
Well, thank you. What a great turnout. I want to thank the governor. He is working hard for you and has done a great job so far. We appreciate that, Mr. Governor. And Secretary Kennedy, thank you so much for your visionary leadership. You know, I remember texting you back in January, and I said, when the secretary gets confirmed, because I knew you'd be confirmed, we're going to make West Virginia healthy. And I talked to him about that. But I'm a father of 7 children with an 8th on the way. My wife is 34 weeks pregnant.
All right. Now I have a mic. Yeah, that was a mess. I knew it would be. I hadn't even planned on streaming it. As soon as I started the stream, I seen that there was a live presser. So I thought, well, this should be interesting. So yeah, Secretary Kennedy wants to cure schizophrenia with a carnivore diet. I think he said something about soda causing girls to have their period years before they should. A lot of crazy stuff in there. So Mac and Fred and Retzi and Southpaw, happy Friday to you folks. Are we going to try and enjoy a weekend this weekend? Not read any Trump trough SourShow posts. Yeah, it's all. I don't know. I ended my day, of course, fairly early again yesterday or last night. So it was early this morning. I think I seen that there was a bunch of Trump's like Hegseth and all these folks involved in this security breach, that more of their personal information has been discovered online. Passwords and such. I haven't looked into it. There's a pretty devastating earthquake in Myanmar. All the way, the effects were felt all the way to Bangkok, got hit really hard from it. And the weather's crappy here. Yeah, he's out of his fucking mind. I don't know what to say. You know, before we would always just say, you know, you just let these people talk and shit'll work itself out, but that's not the case anymore. Yeah, Max says passwords, phone numbers, etc. It's crazy. Max says it's hazy there with air quality alert from the fires, I assume. What you got, Retsy? Brian Johnson, don't die, network state guru under fire. Brian Johnson gained worldwide fame as the subject of a recent Netflix documentary, but now his carefully crafted image may be cracking. Brian Johnson, the leader of a cultish longevity movement called Don't Die, who claims he will live forever, is apparently less than a superhuman. The tech millionaire who openly embraces the network state ideology and says he has created a new religion is under scrutiny for using strict and sometimes coercive confidentiality agreements to control his public image and company narratives. According to New York Times, these agreements are now facing legal challenges as former employees accuse him of using them to suppress concerns about workplace culture and product safety. The 47-year-old former Mormon missionary, has become known for experimenting on his own body to defy aging, captivating the media and his nearly 4 million social followers by receiving the blood plasma of his then 17-year-old son and repeatedly shocking his penis to increase his erection. Is that all I've needed to do all this time? Wait till I tell Mrs. V. Oh my God. Some things are so simple. Johnson gained wider fame as the subject of recent Netflix documentary, but now his carefully crafted image may be cracking. Blah, 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 blah. That's good stuff. We'll just leave it there at the penis electrifying. Electrocuting erections. How about that? Who'd have thought? Sheesh, you guys. Well, 500, it is what? Oh, holy shit, the Dow's taking a tumble, ain't it? I called it. March 28th, 2025, we have 584 days, 14 hours, and 5 seconds until the midterm elections. My question is, can we wait? Can we afford to wait? Will we survive if we wait to do anything? Is that our only hope? Under the Constitution, when within our laws, it seems to be. And I would never suggest that someone go out and break the law and cause violence and riot unless your life depends on it, I guess. So can we afford to wait until the midterms before something drastic changes? You know, I think some of us, I was concerned with our democracy, right? Surviving. And that would, and it is under attack, but that would be, I guess that it would have been a direct attack. And that would have been the big concern, but it's, our democracy is under threat from all different angles, under direct threat of from kleptocracy and autocracy, and it's under threat from our, a tanking economy. I mean, if it gets real bad, we know how that goes. That's not improving our national security. That's not improving our freedoms. It's not making us stronger, more secure. Fred says 560 points down on the Dow. Yeah, all I see is the percentage. It's looks like the Nasdaq's down 2%, 2.3 or 2.1%. Yeah, the Dow 1.3%. S&P 1.5%. Tesla 3.5% or 3.25%. Yep. Retzi says, no, we can't wait. We are fighting for a shadow leader who won't run as president, but who led the parties, someone young and dynamic. We also need a shadow cabinet to tackle each of these Nazi policies. These cabinet members will invite commentary and ideas from the people. A left-wing populist movement that restores faith in democracy as people can participate actively. Some friends are building the social media infrastructures for that. I'm looking around some stories a minute, you guys. Retzi says, the problem is my generation, the boomers, still think we can go back to normal, and that Trump is an aberration. Yeah, even though I'm not a boomer, Retzi, I'm struggling myself to let go of. I mean, you know me. I'm not opposed to change at all. It's I guess it's just frightening, right? It's scary. I know. I need to harden the fuck up. I understand that we're going to have some major overhaul of delegation of power, I guess. A revamping of the powers of each of the three branches of government, I guess. It's scary to fuck with something that has, well, up until recently done us pretty well. You know, it just we're looking for solutions that will minimize the damage that can be done by sociopaths, and we're always going to have those in our societies, right? Is there an ultimate guardrail against that? I mean, none of us could have ever I shouldn't speak for you guys on this, I guess. Just could not have seen it being this bad, right? Like, we just thought there's no fucking way America can elect Trump a second time, you know? Yeah, I like that. Fred says, Retzi, they also think that it's their turn to be in charge instead of who is best. Right, this isn't fucking my turn, your turn bullshit. We have a country with 350 million people in it. Southpaw says he'd vote for Pete, but a lot of people have a problem with sexuality, sadly. Yeah, I don't know what would be harder, Southpaw, to elect a gay man, an openly gay man, or a woman. I don't know. It sucks all the way around. Yeah, I can agree with that. Retzi says we can't move on in his party until Schumer and Pelosi move on to the great green pasture in the sky. You know, they did well in their time, right? Not sure it's clear that these folks exiting sooner would have been beneficial. I mean, we have to keep the motivation of progress and, I was going to say progressive, liberal process going, right? When it stalls out, that's when shit gets really hard. And I think that's what we've seen. However well they did their jobs and how much they positively contributed, we got stalled out with folks like Schumer and Pelosi. Everywhere, social media, in person, in public. I do agree with that. I think we have, we always say, make your voice heard. We really need to make it heard in a very physical, audible way, right? none of us have the MAGA mindset of fucking tear it all down, burn it, and rebuild from the ashes. That's just, I think I can speak for you guys on that. Like, none of us is looking to do that. I hope not. I mean, we're just in a plain tough situation, and we've let it go, Democrats and Republicans both, for a lot of years, right? It got to be just 1 year after another, one election cycle after another, where Americans took less and less interest in their duty to protect themselves, to have say in their rights, and and I know you guys get this. Southpaw says Katie Porter is running for the California governor's position. And she just won her seat, right? Or, no, did she lose to Schiff, maybe, in that primary? Yeah, Ossoff is definitely shining lately. Yeah, he is. I agree. Ossoff is he's a smart fella. Wes, what up? Wes says the wealthy people see things differently than you. Yeah, there's no doubt about that, dude. I'm pretty sure we're all well aware of that. Oh, Schumer beat her for the Senate seat. Southpaw says. Yes, Mac, yeah. Yeah, it took me a minute to get used to that, too. Yeah, Schiff is now a senator. Retzi says, you know who's on the lookout for us? Ezra Klein, of all people. I probably can't pronounce Jake's last name. He interviewed Jake Auchincloss. Auchincloss? Yeah, Bashir, Shapiro, and you guys know I love Whitmer, even though I think me and Retzi talked about this not too long ago that, well, sadly, I don't know what to think, you know. I will have no, I don't know if I'll ever be confident that America will, or when and if America would be willing to elect a woman president. And though I do believe that there probably is stronger candidates than Whitmer, but I do love her. She's fucking brilliant and tough as nails. Her live interviews are really have really fucking got me worked up last year. I mean, the rallies that she spoke at and stuff were great, but her one-on-one live or interviews in front of a live audience, these extended formats, right? They were good. Yeah, I know. Retzi says no woman president now. It's too risky. Doesn't that kill you to say that? And I agree with you. Well, I agree that it's risky. Does that mean we shouldn't? I mean, obviously, we don't want to gamble a presidency to make a fucking principal point, right? That's not being smart on our part. So I hear what you're saying. It makes me sick that that's how it has to be. Yeah, it was a whole clusterfuck, Retzi. I agree. Retzi says Biden was nuts to nominate Kamala. Jesus, I still can't get it right. But we had to support her 100%. And she wasn't she wasn't a good enough candidate to win for whatever reason. Yeah, she probably wasn't the most. I mean, I think she came around. I wasn't her biggest fan immediately after the 2020 election because she was just like so uncomfortable in her position, or at least in public, right? But I really feel like she overcame that, but no, just not our best, not the best we had to put forward, and Biden dragging his feet, I guess, on deciding to get out. And I still praise him for stepping aside. We don't know what it's hard to say. It's hard to imagine that Biden wouldn't have beat him, but Jesus Christ, Biden was taking a lot of flack for clearly he's it's getting up there. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Wes says the midterms might show us where we're at probably as far as electing a woman, right? But if the country isn't ready, you can't force it, and that's exactly it. I think that's what we just seen, even though I still believe it was a whole combination of things, right? Lazy ass Democrat voters, disenfranchised voters, folks that just have no faith anything's going to get any better no matter what they do. But it pisses me off that it's such a take. And look, I live where I live. Voting is so freaking quick around here, right? And I get that it's harder for some folks in bigger cities, and especially with all the, going after the ballot boxes and all that stuff and preventing those from making it any easier for folks to vote. It fucking sucks that people it fucking sucks that we have not just 18-year-olds, but 30-plus-year-olds in this country that are incapable of understanding how important all this is. Yeah, I agree, Wes. Again, to give Kamala props, she put together a pretty incredible campaign in the shortest time in modern history, for sure, right? Betsy says, but I was waiting and waiting and waiting for her big vision for America, and it never came. Just more of the same. If you wanted things to keep ticking over, Kamala would have been perfect. Well, I agree. Like, I think that it wouldn't hurt to be far more. You guys can find a better word for me. I don't want to say extreme or radical, but far more aggressive and liberal policies than we have been, right? I mean, what the fuck do we have to lose, you guys, at this point? We should be hammering down, I think, what Retsy's suggestion. We should just be going for every fucking thing we think and know is what the American people deserve. I'm such a fucking easygoing guy, though, you know? Mr. Happy over here. I'm a compromiser. And I know that's maybe not always a good thing, right? Maybe that would lead to more trouble at times. Or just delaying the inevitable. Yeah, Fred says we need gratification age. We need snippets, or in this instant gratification age, we need snippets, 1 minute sound bites. But that's ridiculous. I mean, I know what you're saying, Fred. Like, that seems like, you know, our collective attention span in this country is complete shit. We do suck at messaging. Or the Dems do. Yeah, she had, again, Mac brings up a good point. She had a lot of experience, you know. There was only 3 people qualified or legal to run, right, with the experience that she had, and that was her, Trump, and Biden, right? Because Trump didn't ask Pence to be his running mate for a second time. Yeah, Retzi says we have the perfect tools now. Social media can generate a sense of participation. I agree, but it can't just be to what it just. People can't just think they can get on a fucking stupid chat. Not you guys, you know what I'm saying. But people can't come into my chat for the first time and go, "Oh, you know, I participated in a frickin' chat where there was a bunch of really good fucking smart chatters, and the host was a dipshit, but the chatters had their shit together." That's not good enough for that person just to say, oh, okay, you know, not that they are, but, you know, we need to make it urgent that it needs to spill over from social media into the streets, ultimately, right? Yeah, Fred says Bernie's age hurts him. Yeah, there's no way Bernie is running. He's already said he isn't. It's ridiculous. I hope to God he doesn't. That would be insane. I would have voted for him. There's no way in hell I could support anything about that now. It's just ridiculous. That's who Biden should have picked as his running mate. That's how I think we should be doing this shit, quite honestly. Of course, I suppose popularity contests haven't done us well either, have they? Right on, Max says any Democrat could have run, but my point was that there was only 3 people in the country other that were able to run that had the experience that Harris did, and that was her, Biden, and Trump, and Pence, and Gore, but I don't know where the hell Gore is. Pence wasn't going to run. Gore wasn't running. Oh, was there one other? Who was HW's VP? Jesus Christ. My brain. I think that cat's still alive. This shit's fucking killing me. Retzi says, yeah, get people excited that they can make a difference. That's exactly what Trump did. They did. He did. He But they're so fucking dramatic about it, Retzi, right? Like the Trump team just spews these most ridiculous, grandiose, impossible fucking schemes that got his base excited. It's like we're not going to lie to our fellow voters. Not to that extent. How do we compete with that shit? How do we compete with the Democrats are controlling hurricanes and FEMA's taking your house and your kids? Well, I agree that we need to always keep the conversations going as hot and heavy as possible. For sure, for sure. I don't know what I am. I always lean on Putin and Retzi to describe my political position. Because I don't know. There's so many labels. I thought for the longest time I was a liberal, and Retzi's like, no, you're not a lib. Yeah, just seen it looks like Muhammad Khalil, I'm hearing is getting underway. Maybe Noam was making more comments about dismantling FEMA right before hurricane season starts. We're only way, way, way overdue for major earthquakes out west. the spring storms and tornadoes were absolutely insane last year. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through news headlines. Yeah, of course. Wes says Trump, or people love the Trump lies. Well, these are damaged people. These are folks that never had any sort of resolution, or, they're still dealing with unresolved issues from their childhood, clearly. Or maybe not just their childhood, their self-loathing. I think I can stand on that pretty firmly. They're completely disappointed in everything about their own personal lives, and they feel like, I don't know if they're just so desperate. Well, they're like, this is our last hope. As crazy as it sounds, I'm just gonna put all my energy and hope and faith behind this fucking orange cocksucker. I don't. It's just, but we're dealing with adults. It's not like Trump is spewing these absolutely impossible, promises, lies to folks that aren't, most of whom are functioning normally every day out in society, whether they're working and paying bills or somewhat or whatever it is, right? And then to just, I still have a hard time believing that they fall for it. Like, I almost think they're like, I know this is bullshit and I'm at my wit's end. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the world. I'm just gonna hammer down on this complete disastrous crock of shit. I'm right in 100% with the Trump train. It's insane. I don't know. I don't have enough degrees to figure that one out. Yeah, exactly. I'll probably mispronounce this word. Betsy says she's a political polyglot. Polyglot. I want stuff to work. I want my country to flourish. Yeah, I have to agree. There should have been a lot more. Well, the things I think we should have been hammering down on is health care for all, single payer, and the wealth, income, wage gap, and how it's the daylight has between the two, the poor and the wealthy just gets wider and wider and wider. Yeah, right on. Retzi says they don't care what Trump says, never will. They only care that Trump is owning the libs. Owning the libs. Well, I have to agree with that, Retzi, even though I guess I kind of just said the opposite, that they are they don't care about anything getting better, clearly, because they know it's not. Like, the only thing they got out of Trump winning was the ability to say Trump won. Because they're not winning. Trump isn't winning. He may be getting done what he wants to get done, but there's nobody winning, no win to any of it. Yep, Mac. Yeah, winning first, prosperity second. Southpaw says Trump has a stronger idea in the southern border, no matter how inhumane. Well, it blows my mind. I mean, it's not like we don't know they're selfish. I guess I'm naive. I've not been ashamed to admit it before. I mean, maybe I'm a little ashamed of it, but I've not been afraid to admit it. I guess I'm naive just how completely self-centered so many Americans are. Like, we are the center of the universe. It's absolutely fucking crazy. That's the attitude I think those fuckers portray. Like, we can just isolate ourselves and everything's going to be great here, you know? It's insane. Yeah, exactly, Mac. You've heard me tell them. Move over, motherfuckers, because TV2's riding in this fucking canoe up shit creek right next to your ass the whole way. And I might even splash a few turds on you on the way. Robert Reich. That sounds familiar. Oh yeah, they won't accept it. Most of them won't accept it or admit it until they are really, really hurting, and then they still may not. Wesley says admitting and apologizing are old school things now. I'm old school. Yeah, right on. Southpaw says, in my mind out here in the sticks, Mama and Papa didn't want to crop a brown grandbabies. All right, you guys, I need to do a BRB real quick and refill my coffee, all right? I'm going to sit and yap. It's fucking shit weather outside. So I am going to I'm going to hang out and do this for a little while. As long as there's some beautiful folks like yourselves to talk with. All right. I was looking at my weather map. I was going to show you guys all the fucking crappy weather that I have to deal with. It is nice. It is, well, it says 46. Yeah, it's not new. It's supposed to be up to 60 today, but it's going to be wet and yucky. But I'm fine with that. Spring in West Michigan. All right, you guys, hang tight. I'll be right back. Dave. So you guys hit that thumbs up or down, share with those you love and those you don't. Subscribe and ring the all bell. If you're just out there lurking, come in and tell us what's on your mind. And if you feel like your opinions and your stance is so opposite of ours that you would just never be accepted, that's all right. Come and share your thoughts anyways. Don't be a fucking coward. It's Friday, Dave. I'm a little bit slacky about sharing stuff. I hear thunder. All right, what did I do there? That'll work. Oh my God, you guys, this is hard. I should open a curtain. It's one of those days, like it's just gloomy and pouring rain out there, and I'm stuffed myself upstairs in this studio, and I hate the natural light because it fucks with my settings. And so I feel like I'm completely oblivious to time right now. It's been making it hard to wake up, even though I've been up. I don't know what time I got up at. 4:30 and dicked around for a few, and I ate something, and I knew I just couldn't. I wasn't going to start a stream until 9. And it was like, I don't know, 7 o'clock or something. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I can't just sit here. If I start reading stuff or just scrolling through crap on the screen, it's just going to make it worse. So I ended up laying back down and probably nodding off for a minute. To short. Oh, I have this set at 3 months. Yeah. So we're what 67 days in? But that low point was and it was just a couple days. I think January, yeah, the day after inauguration, whatever. I don't know how much you'd want to look at from election day. Looks like that's November 4th right there. Well, it opened at 42,000 that day, so it's even below that. I think maybe Fred was saying that the other day, that it was below what it was on the election, or maybe he said at inauguration day. So I guess folks could look at it however they wanted to after there was approximately, because I was keeping track of it all last year, and there was about 7,000 or 8,000 points worth of growth in the Dow, and I know that's just the Dow, but I don't pretend to be a Wes or an investor. But it had grown about 7,000 points over a 10-month period, which is pretty substantial, right? So the fact that it had continued really good growth right after the election up until inauguration day, which I think is fun. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I think it's all pretty quirky anyway, because it's so much dependent on what you guys know better than I do, without a doubt. I just want to make sure that's clear. Most of y'all know much better than I do the details on how this shit works, but obviously, right, big investors buying, selling, and consumer confidence, and what drives consumer confidence, like people like Trump running their mouth, or the Fed releasing statements, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so, but down 1,200 points still, the Dow, over the last 30 days. 529 today so far. Wes is probably having a fit now because oh no, that wasn't Yahoo Finance that I was using that time. It was MSM. Retzi says, Wesley, teach us. Fred knows his shit too. I don't want to know. I don't have the fucking. I know you guys know, Jesus Christ, TV, get your shit together, but I don't have the fucking capacity to learn anything, any new stuff right now. I have all I can do to manage what's on my plate. Yeah, I have to put together a little fucking music video clip, just a short one, 15 seconds or something, of Musk throwing the Nazi salute and Trump bouncing off the garbage truck trying to get in. Those two together, I think, would be funny. Wow, that's weird. Do I not have some? Oh, should have. Maybe I was talking too quietly, which would have to be rare, Ratsy. Yeah, should have audio, hopefully. Might not have for a minute there, I think, when I switch scenes. Yeah, I guess that wacky ass presser with JFK Jr., BJ, was about it, because I know Congress decided they started their weekend yesterday afternoon. Retsy, I think you're either going to love or appreciate these ladies. I like it, but I'm easily entertained. You guys have to check it out. They do. God, what is some of their. God damn it. Now, what the fuck did I do? They do a lot. They do like. It's almost like a video series of theirs called This Fucking Guy. Check out Hysteria. They're pretty good. It's sarcasm, but they're not dumb ladies. They just try to make it fun. Retsy says she put me on mute with thick aging fingers. It's all right. I understand. You don't have to make excuses. Retsy, I swear to God. I mean, you guys can imagine. You've hung out. I don't know. You guys are great. In some ways. I mean, I'm not sure if it's you guys being, if you guys not being, telling me to shut the fuck up sometimes or slow my roll is being so great, right? If I wanted friends, I'd be at the beach, God damn it. But yeah, Retsy, in the past, there's been many times I would sit down next to Mrs. V and I'd be like, holy fucking shit, I'm driving myself nuts. I'm talking so goddamn much. It's terrible. I say it jokingly, but I mean, I'm all right. Things have gotten better, but. Whew. I have a lot of thoughts, maybe not so much to say or something like that. Or a lot of words, but not so much to say. I'd like to be able to put myself on mute sometimes. Woo! It's getting shitty. If you guys lose me, it's because it's storming. Just a little blaster. Just a little cell popping up. Oh, Mac, we're going into blueberry season, brother. Soon, kind of. Well, I love you guys, Retzi. I hope I never, I mean, not that I give a fuck if you guys think that if I get too attached to some of you folks. Of course, I don't want to sound creepy. Otherwise, you'll all leave me, and then what do I do? No, but I mean, I think rather it makes no difference that I'm sitting, I think it sucks that my face out of our group is the one that has to be on screen. It's good to be able to it's good to be able to yap with folks that aren't fucking afraid to tell you what they think. It's good to be right. Like, that's what friends are. Folks that you see eye to eye on a lot of things, and the things you don't are what really are the glue, right? Are the things that keep us coming together and discussing, because we know what each other has to, so much of what each other has to offer, that it's just those things that we do have, those differences we do have, like, are the important things, right? Because that's what's keeping us from getting our shit together, I guess, or not our shit together, but I guess society as a whole getting our shit together is one. I don't know. I said it the other day, we can't, whoever it was it Franklin? I think I asked it 10 times. If you're willing to give up a little bit of your freedoms for security, you deserve neither. And so I don't know again how much compromising we should be doing, if any, with these folks. Well, I'm not down on myself, Darlie, and I don't want to sound like I am. I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking self-loathing tide or something. I just try. Look, when you do what I do, no matter that it's not great at all, it's like I'm aggressive. I know, I understand that you have to be, like Retzi said, keep talking. You have to. This would be, I mean, you think this is a shit stream now? If I didn't have anything to say, it would really be, maybe it'd be better if I didn't, but yeah, you have to be so aggressive. So I'm just constantly checking myself to make sure that I tried my best to have as much humility as possible, because I know goddamn well that there's plenty of times where you wouldn't think I understood what the word humility meant at all, and I get that. I just want to make sure people understand I'm self-aware. I don't rip on myself too badly. Just when I have to take my shirt off and see my belly. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, gosh darn it. I hate that. I don't know why it doesn't show my drop down. My taskbar feed. Here we go, guys. Trump warns Wall Street Journal. Trump warned U.S. automakers not to raise prices in response to tariffs. And we covered we streamed most of that presser by, for fuck's sake, the fellow from Canada. I'm sure his name will come to me. Anyways. When President Trump convened CEOs of some of the country's top automakers for a call earlier this month, he issued a warning. They better not raise car prices because of tariffs. And I said yesterday, and I get it, this is the average price, but the average cost of a new automobile in the U.S. is $47,000 and some change, so $48,000 basically, and with a 25% tariff on all vehicles made outside the U.S., which is a whole big percentage of them, that raises that average cost to $60,000. So what if I don't even know. I haven't looked at the price of a brand new vehicle within reason. I've daydreamed about a new truck or whatever, right? But that's ridiculous. That's they're $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to replace my old F-150 with a new one, right? But still, is there can you get a sedan or a small compact car for less than $20,000? Maybe. But still, add 25%. So you're buying a small car because you only have $20,000 to spend. You don't have $25,000 to spend. It's very. It's not like it's, incomprehensible. It's just that. It's fairly complex with all the different parts, tariffs being put on auto parts. We have, as you guys know, and I don't mean to, not trying to talk down to anybody, the cars go back and forth across the border, sometimes multiple times during assembly. The parts that are imported from all over the world, as well as the cars, American-made cars that are built completely outside of our borders, right? It's just insane. Dave says Hegseth was a mail RU Russian account. I don't know what that means. Like he had a Russian email account that was revealed in this. Am I missing something, you guys? I just haven't. I know it's a lousy excuse, but honestly, I only found out or read a couple headlines, sadly, I know, about more of this security, certain folks, Gabbard and Hegseth, Waltz. I don't know if Patel was included in that, but a bunch of their personal information. I think maybe Max said something about phone numbers and email addresses. Was that something that was revealed in that, Dave? And am I missing something, you guys? Was this not any really new information as far as, was it connected to the breach at all? Was this just that they found that were they hacked and a hacker said, look, we found all these people's some of their personal information that should be secure out there, unsecure? Yeah, see, Retzi says most Pistons. That's funny. Not that she doesn't dive deep, but most Pistons in a vehicle travel over the Canadian border 4 times. Do you hit those Pistons twice with tariffs? Yeah, that's a good question too, Retzi. Probably any added cost, right? So like if they're gaining something when they cross the border, right? Now there's the ring added to the piston, or maybe the push rod added to the piston, and then it goes back. Yeah, I'll bet you they will be. I'll bet 25% on whatever the cost of that, or the cost of that item is goes up to. I would assume, even if it's like you said more than once, I would assume so. Or they figured added on all at once, knowing that it's going back and forth twice or a couple times. Oh, and Venmo accounts with open details. There's a report that Hegseth had a Russian email account on one of the documents that Der Spiegel found. Haven't seen those reports verified yet. I gotcha. Yeah, I'm not really seeing a lot on it right now either. My kid was just talking to me a little while ago about his 401k. He's completely hands off, right? Just do whatever the company investor does in general, however that works. I was telling him that I might have to start managing it for him. It's continuing to slip, isn't it? We are 3.5 hours away from close. Yeah, the Dow is down 634 points. All right. Mrs. V hollering at me. Jesus. Tesla is down $10. GameStop's up, you guys. All the fucking American car companies are suffering. I mean, this is another pretty big loss for sure for the Dow, right? Why isn't it showing me my other? Wes, Fred, what's your guys' thoughts? Is it going to will there be a huge gain here before closing today on Friday, or will it really fucking tank? Yeah, it's strange. Like, it was pretty stable until Trump started running his mouth about the tariffs for the last month. I think that's an important one too, Retzi, as far as what little I know. Is the bonds are an important indicator, right? And how the US dollar is doing and compared to other currencies. Yeah, Darlene says that UPS is experiencing a slowdown in business because of consumer confidence. And so really not a lot has changed yet. I mean, Trump has fired a bunch of people, and the threat of tariffs every week have exacted real life results or consequences with consumer confidence, even though, you know, the interest rates, the unemployment numbers are all have been fairly stable still, though that's going to change. It's the rhetoric doing damage. So again, when we think about if any of these things really do, like tariffs really do start to hit the shelves, then what's going to, how much worse is it going to be? A lot. Yeah, Retzi says Besant is worried about the bond yields because Trump's hitting at a default. Isn't that fucking gross? It's like, these motherfucker... Oh, I can't take it, you guys. Because it's all on these gosh darn voters that supported them, right? It's their fault, damn it. Well, it's our fault, too, for somehow not... not letting our fellow citizens know how it, not making it clear or getting through to folks. I'm not saying we didn't, that nobody tried their best. I know there's more I could have done. But for fuck's sake, these people, these voters supporting Trump is, how do we deal with that? He ran on lowering the debt, and now, he's hinting at defaulting on our obligations. It's like, of course, the elite, extreme right, can weather the storm, so they're not going to say anything, and the masses of the cult are just too stupid, or fuck, I don't know. Thick blood. Yeah, right, Retzi. Well, Retzi says Trump has mentioned a default on debt held outside America, and that will be the end of the dollar as a reserve currency. I know the Republicans are freaking out about it, but really they won't suffer any consequences from their base if they totally blow this, Retzi, right? Or will there be any? I mean, maybe minor consequences, maybe some seats. I mean, we've seen some of that recently. I think a Democrat just want to see in Lancaster, and maybe Fred was saying someplace else too, or Mac. Somebody was saying that there had been another seat at the state level flipped somewhere that was important. Well, they all are, but Bill, happy Friday to you, mother brother. Bill says literally going to bankrupt the country seems like there was a pattern we should have seen. Fred says, I honestly think Trump's plan is to make us a third world country. It's very hard to not look at some really outlandish, crazy ideas like the elite are trying to put us, to destroy us for a money grab, right? Like assets just start to accumulate more of what the middle class has right now. I mean, those are generational goals, Fred. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, am I that naive? Are we that naive to think that there can't possibly be humans that are so fucking defective that they're willing to see millions of people suffer, die? What the fuck? And then folks want to talk about a God. Oh, yeah. We're his children. All right. I'm really going to have to start monitoring myself now because I'll start getting giddy after being on here for so long. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, Retzi mentions the new budget deadline where we have 10 trillion due, or around that time. Excuse me. August, September. I think the new CR or whatever was passed until September 9th or something like that. Maybe later. 22nd. Oh, hell no, we don't have it. Yeah, exactly, Fred. It's not going to, the top 10% earners aren't going to really, they're not going to, they may see their bank accounts shrink, but they're not going to change any of their habits. And then it'll be extreme from that point down, right? You guys, did you share and like or thumbs down this video? Did you share it with the people that you absolutely can't stand? That's what I would do. And you can share up to 5 links to your channel just by clicking share. Am I doing shameless promotion? I'd like to have had more video clips and stuff to bring you guys, but there's a lot of that out there on YouTube. There's a lot of people streaming that, and not saying that I won't or don't, because you guys know I do, but I'd much rather just sit and engage with folks. I've tried to do this 1,000 different ways, and I've decided that for the most part, starting up a conversation and just letting it go. Bill says Mez was pumping up the stream on Chud Chat. He was pumping up this stream. Mezzy's a character. I'm pretty easygoing guy. You guys know. Sometimes maybe I tolerate too much fucking shit because people are fucking passive. And then they have those moments where they're really, really disgusting, terrible fucking slime. And I shouldn't look past that crap. Mezzy used to hang out here back in the protest streams. Ratsy, thanks for hanging out with us, sister. Seriously. I don't want to get all mushy, but it means a lot when we're able to see you for a good little chat like this. That was cool. Now get in that kitchen, girl. Time to make some victuals. And big hugs and love to the family, too. We'll see you soon, whether we like it or not, right? That's what I say. You guys always see me again, whether you like it or not. All right, take care, sister. Fred's fucking bailing too. Fred's got to go out and do in real life stuff. He's going to scope out this latest bottle of whiskey. Now he's going to get mad because I can't remember which one it is. Bill, that's funny. I took the kids' truck down to the store earlier, and I was and it was pouring rain. I'm like, man, if we had some little bit of snow, I'd come back doing some fucking whipping some shitties in the backyard. I always fucking bitch about the rednecks out here, and unfortunately, I think they've started to influence me. I've always been about doing some donuts. I don't know about in my yard in the past, but whatever. I got room. Bourbon is whiskey with rules. I can't drink any of it. I mean, I would probably... is Jack Daniels whiskey or bourbon? Because I can't handle that shit. It's fucking nasty. I think it's scotch that I could have sipped, and it's good, right? Well, it doesn't turn me off. It's like tequila. I don't know if I could you guys would have to tell me what totally turned you off. Tequila, I can't, ever since I got sick on it many years ago, that was it. That shit's nasty. How do people say that's good crap? You know what I mean? You put tequila in like margarita mix, and it fucking ruins the margarita mix. It's like chewing on a fucking gym locker sock or something. Not that I've done that more than once. Wes is going to have lunch. What are you making, Wes? Wes, come back and tell us what you're making. All right, you guys can see I'm getting giddy and restless, even though I don't know what I'm going to do. What time is it? 12:42. Wouldn't mind taking a break and doing a stream later, but I'll bet you I'm going to be completely fucking burnt out later. Southern Comfort and Coke. Dave, we used to get, when I was a kid, me and my buddy would each get a half pint of Southern Comfort. My uncle, just a few years older than me, would buy it for us. And so we'd walk the train tracks in our town, little hometown, and sit there and sip on our Southern Comfort. And we were young, I don't know, 15-ish, whatever. Too young to drive, too young to drink, but we were drinking. Once that shit makes you puke, that's the end of that, too. Or Kessler's. Yeah, Southern Comfort should be illegal. Oh, new charred American oak barrels, huh? Fred, I watch a lot of crazy shit like just, silly, fun, home style documentaries, and like I think it was one that I just seen on maple syrup, even though I'm sure I've seen the shit before. They use old whiskey barrels to God, am I getting that right? That's not it. God damn it. There was something unique that they were using old. It wasn't related to alcohol at all, but they were using the used whiskey barrels to hold and cure something else. Gosh darn it. Maybe it'll come to me. Oh, won't you stand by me? Oh, won't you stand by me? Man, Bill, that's why I don't do fucking movies for the last 30 fucking years, really, other than ridiculous sci-fi superhero shit with a lot of fucking neat visuals, right? Because I'm a visual guy anyways, but they don't make movies like that anymore, do they? We haven't for a long time. No. Bill, look it up. Look up the train bridge, Grand Haven, Michigan. It's pretty neat. It's still a swinging train bridge. We have the drawbridge right there on the Grand River for the automobiles, and then, yeah, a swinging train bridge. Now, you could never get out on the train bridge or you'd end up getting your ass in trouble because there was someone up on the drawbridge that would be calling in the cops, but it was all along the riverbanks. There's no development back then in like the 80s, right? It's all fucking condos and shit now and restaurants and stuff all the way to the lake, or pretty close. It was a neat place to grow up. We had Lake Michigan, which is huge, and the dunes and the Grand River and all that kind of swamp area. Yeah, and the train tracks, all kinds of different old, the huge, God, what is it? What would they call it? Well, anyway, on the other side of the power, from where I grew up, is a power plant. So it had all the coal, there's salt that would always be unloaded for the roads, rock, gravel, all kinds of different shit. It was like, thankfully, I guess, tourism has always been huge in the town I grew up in, but it was probably more so dependent on tourism back in the day, and it wasn't a very well-to-do town. It is now. It wasn't like a poor, beat-up, haggard town back then. It just was always right on the edge, but now because of its position on Lake Michigan and all that, it's ridiculous. I can't afford to live in the town I grew up in, not even close. There'd be no fucking way in hell. Darlene says the Grand Rapids Swing Bridge is a four-span Pratt Truss Railroad swing bridge in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was built in 1902 for the Pierre Marquette Railroad as a swing bridge to allow steamboats to pass up the Grand River, but this river traffic was discontinued in 1907. Yeah, and then they rebuilt the fish ladder too, which stopped all that further traffic further inland. Yeah, the old Pierre Marquette Trail goes right through my area. They turned it all into I think it's called the Muscatawa Trail now. It's basically a bike path that runs from the lake shore pretty much to Grand Rapids, which is, I don't know, it'd have to be a good at least 35 miles or something. But that, well, you can hook up with it probably just 2 miles right on my road. Meanders through the boring ass farmland of West Michigan. All right, Fred, be good, brother. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be at this too much longer. It's been a couple of hours. I told Mrs. V this morning, I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? It's fucking pouring out. I streamed my ass off the last 3 days, especially yesterday was a long one. I didn't sleep great last night because I never do. But it's like there's just so much going on. I'm like, maybe I'll just sit down anyways and I'll get some of it out of me. And then I'll have a nice nap later. Did I see Dave was looking to fucking wrestle? Dave, were you just lipping off to me about something? No, I didn't get no rain until this morning. It just started raining right before I started the stream. Here, anyways. I think it's about done too, though. There's just still, yeah, it's about done here. Though we're supposed to get more. Well, it does say rain tomorrow. I know we're supposed to get storm Sunday. Oh, now they're saying, well, that's Grand Rapids. Yeah, showers on and off tomorrow here, mid-50s. A little bit warmer again Sunday, but it's showing rain all day and night Sunday. And then it gets chilly again. Or a little bit chilly. It's spring, I guess. Springtime in Michigan. Yeah, we almost always get a blast of snow that doesn't stick, right? In April. I have video clips of April 17th from a few years ago. I think is the latest in the year that I've seen it. Always it seems like we get a frickin' snow shower in April. All right, you guys. I appreciate every one of you. I'll probably see y'all again soon, I'm sure. I'm going to fuck off for a minute and go make sure the dogs aren't tearing the house down. Maybe smoke, maybe not. All right, you guys be good. I will see you all soon. I would imagine. So I'll roll one more time. Yeah. All right. Peace and love. TV2 out.